But late night, when you fantasize about your ideal MP and all, right? What sort of profile comes to mind? Like in your mind, as you close your eyes and you picture, like, what is the profile?
So that means there are moments where late at night
Don't try to throw it back to me.
You're sitting there fantasizing about your ideal MPs, is it?
Terence, the question was to you.
Glass of wine.
Turn down the lights.
Turn down the lights. Turn on your turn on your VPN or something.
Put some aromatic oils and watch the PAP speech. Ooh, wow, perfect Friday night.
Now, if I were to ask you about the best Christmas gift you've ever received, I'm sure it'd be something that was not the brightest or shiniest object, but something that was thoughtful and heartfelt, right? So if you'd like to give something as meaningful to your loved ones this Christmas, how about an audio recording of your favorite stories, memories, and well wishes for them in your own voice? I'm talking about Folklory, which is something we've helped hundreds of customers from around 20 countries create for the people in their lives. All we'll need is a 30-minute phone call with you or someone you nominate, and we'll turn that conversation into a podcast that your loved ones can listen to anytime they want. And to make it even more special, we'll deliver it to you as a limited edition Folklory cassette. It's a Bluetooth speaker, styled as a good old mixtape, that'll come preloaded with your recording. We launched this cassette last year and our entire batch was sold out for Christmas. People loved it, which is why we're offering it once again this year. So order by 31st October to guarantee a cassette delivered to you by Christmas. Slots are limited, so the earlier you book, the better. You can find out all the information you need at folklory.com along with examples and reviews from previous customers. The link is in the show notes, so please check it out, because we'd love to help you create something special. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala,
But
your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How was the weekend, man?
Pretty good. I was in JB all weekend, which is why the last episode we had Jackie stand in, right?
Yeah.
And the weekend was hot as shit, right? Seems like the pattern these days, like the weekdays like nice and cool.
The weekend is
where the party is at. It gets like hot as hell.
Yeah, the whole weekend didn't really rain, right?
Yeah. Even JB also was very hot. Right?
But how was JB?
Okay, I mean, I spent 2 days in Legoland, and just enjoyed the countryside.
You sound very rested.
Yeah. Exhausted. You mean, with bring a kid around Legoland.
But Legoland, it's essentially a theme park, right?
Yeah, it's a theme park.
For kids specifically, or?
I mean, adults also can go. There are rides that only adults can take.
Do you go on the rides?
No, I didn't. I can't.
Oh, you can't?
I have to watch a kid. Yeah. How do you go on a ride when you have to watch a kid?
Oh, that's true. There's no kid minders there or something.
That's the idea of you go with your family or your friends and all that.
Oh, but you went with one-on-one at the race?
Yeah. It was a boys' trip, like with a friend and his kid also. Yeah.
But I mean, unless you and your friend, you all split up, you go on rides one at a time, then one person takes 2 kids.
In theory, that should work. But when one kid is having a meltdown and then someone needs to deal with that and that kind of thing like that, you can't expect someone to just take care of 2 kids just like that.
I guess in a few years' time, I'll be experiencing that also.
Less than a few years, you'll be experiencing a lot sooner. Yeah.
A lot sooner. Because I love rides, like theme park. Do you enjoy it, right?
Yeah, of course I love them. Yeah. But it's you'll need to go like to the park multiple times because also height restrictions. So your kid, there's certain rides they won't be able to take. They'll be very disappointed. So you have to plan to come back again next time to try them.
Oh. Yeah. And Legoland is like the closest theme park of that scale to Singapore.
RWS, Resorts World.
Oh, RWS. But it feels like Legoland has like a lot more kids, right? Like
it RWS, is. I mean, Lego is a toy, right? So it's a kids thing, yeah. And
I think a lot of people are listening. They might be, Lego's not just for kids,
Yeah, that's true, That's true. But it is primarily for kids. There's a water park as well. There's a small little aquarium there. So you can spend 2 days, 3 days there. Yeah.
But does it have anything to do? Like, do you see a lot of the Lego toys as part of the rides?
Yeah, of course. Everything. This is what Legoland's about.
I know, but how?
Giant Legos. Yeah. You ever watched the Lego movie before?
Yeah.
So imagine being a character in the Lego movie, and then you're just everything is Lego.
Oh, I see. This is smart,
Yeah.
Smart.
You've never been, I suppose.
Never been.
Never thought of like bringing your before you had kids, or you bring your wife?
Because my wife's not the biggest fan of rides.
I see.
Yeah, so if I go, it'll be another boys' trip. Yeah, I'm going to scolded by all the listeners again.
You should organize your next boys your next.
I mean, when we went to Bali for the boys trip, we did go to a water theme park. Great.
Water bomb. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, it's awesome.
And then what's more for adults, I feel.
This is awesome. This is awesome. It's really my boys trip.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How was it in Singapore?
Singapore was okay. Yeah, hot. Trying to enjoy the festive mood. It's a bit hard to do it when it's hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, festive mood.
But nothing was going on in Singapore of note, in particular.
Over the weekend, no, I don't think so, man. Yeah, pretty quiet. It feels like Singapore as a country has slowed down for the festive season.
Stand-Up Marathon was the last big hurrah, I guess.
Yeah, big hurrah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just I'm not happening enough. I wasn't aware of what was going on.
Correct.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, yeah, man.
But here we are, back here.
Here we are.
There's always news. That's the good thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Good or bad, or exciting or not exciting. There's still news. So we'll always be here.
Yeah. And I mean, our live show is happening this Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
12 December, exciting. Even though I think some people have been emailing us, because there's one thing on the website that shows like pending fulfillment. So if you're listening and you're wondering, we will be sending an email out to confirm that it's happening, but it is happening. It's definitely happening. 12 December, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
27 Ann Siang.
Yep.
It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun time.
Yep.
We're super excited, but until then, we still got to talk about shit, man.
Correct.
But before that,
if you're new here, please like, share, follow the channel or our videos, and subscribe. Make sure that you're up to date with everything that we put out there, right?
And if you want to work with us, you can check us out at ministryoffunny.com. Drop us a message there, or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah,
cool, man.
So this first topic is it's kind of like an ongoing thing, right? It's not like a big piece of news that happened over the weekend, but it's something that I think we're hearing a lot more of as we're approaching 2025 because elections are on everyone's minds. So what is it about the elections that are a bit more different this time?
I mean, I guess this has probably happened like every election, but there's a long article written on CNA that got published last week, actually, end of last week. And the title is Growing Voters' Expectations and Public Scrutiny Hampering Singapore Political Parties' Recruitment Efforts. I mean, basically, the whole summary is that it's getting harder and harder for the political parties, both the PAP as well as opposition, to find candidates with caliber to join the government. And they go on to talk about, accounts from people who have resisted offers to join politics, but who still help out, volunteers, some cadres, not cadres, cadres, and also comparing the recruitment efforts or the strategies for the PAP versus the opposition.
Yeah.
Pretty long article. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the elections, there's still not much clues as to when it'll be happening, right?
Yeah.
I saw some people saying the Electoral Boundaries Committee has been set up. Has it? I don't think so, no?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, it's not yet formed. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing more and more talk about, some people spotted here walking the ground, some people spotted there. But I guess that ties into what we're talking about. Why, if it actually is the case, it's getting harder for these parties to find high-quality candidates.
Yeah.
The last time, I think Lawrence Wong, during his speech at the PAP conference a few weeks ago, he did say, right?
Yeah.
They've already started speaking to high caliber people, trying to get them in. One of the most important things is to ensure they feel the strongest lineup possible. But what made you want to talk about this?
I think it's interesting that we heard Lawrence Wong talking about this just a couple of weeks back, because just based on what a lot of people are saying on the ground, or that where elections could be from anywhere from March to September, right, next year. That doesn't leave us a lot of time. If you're still recruiting people at this point, still trying to convince them to come on board at this point, that really leaves you only 3 to 6 months to really ramp up, get them on the ground, get residents familiar with them, get the media familiar with them. So there's really not a lot of time to, push for completely new candidates in this election. So the interesting thing is we see this article come out, and it is pointing out that, it's been hard, right, to get people. And then, coincidentally, on the same day, Kelvin Cheng also made a post about how PAP needs to slay some secret cows to slow down electoral loss. And one of them is like stop parachuting in candidates at the last minute, right? And he also talks about reducing the size of the group representation committees, the GRCs, right? So, all this discussion all points towards the common thread that, recruitment for politics now is very hard. That's what we're seeing on the ground. But how about you? Like, why do you think this was something interesting to talk about?
I can imagine, I think most people would agree that, or can even understand why it's getting harder for these parties to find candidates who want to join politics. But what I was thinking is is it why would people join politics? What is the demand to join politics? What is the appeal to join politics? And how people who eventually end up or on the cusp of joining make that decision. Because I would like to announce that I have not been approached by anyone to join politics. I always read, there's this, I guess tea sessions is a formalized word, right? Because even in this article, I haven't had any tea sessions or anything. And I think, it's such a, there are many reasons why you can understand why people might join. And of course, there are noble reasons you hope they join. But I think it's just a whole spectrum. And it is quite fascinating.
And to clarify, I don't think there's any big official process to get someone to join that, right? People like Jack Sim, the World Toilet Organization founder, he's been on this podcast on record saying that he was approached to join the PAP or join the government and all that, right? I think people we talk to have spoken about being approached to join the PAP and things like that. But it just hit me that there's no way to verify that also. I could come in tomorrow and just tell you, hey, I've been approached.
How's your weekend? I
was approached to join the PAP, I was approached to join some political party. Who's going to verify?
And where do you meet? Where did you have this?
I can't say more, it's confidential,
Who did you meet?
I say I can't say more. It was just someone very high up in the party. That kind of thing, right? So my point is that, we're starting to hear a lot of these people, especially in this article, also quoting saying that they were approached multiple times or whatever, right? But again, there's no way of verifying the veracity of this.
That's last time, in the dating game, you go to club, you're like, that person look at me. That person
wants eye contact with you.
I'm like, hey, fuck you.
She wanted to give me her number.
She really wanted me. Okay, but there were too many people between me and the bar. But she wanted me. She wanted me.
So, I hope that maybe we also become more discerning as listeners or readers. That if someone tells you that they got approached by PAP, try to verify exactly who and where, like what you were asking me just now, right? So that we know they're not full of shit, right? Because I think maybe this is the new flex. This is the new flex. Being asked to run for politics because it's coming up next year, right?
And you can imagine it could be a whole spectrum. Let's say you go to meet the MP session and you meet the MP and you spend time talking and the MP says, you should join us once in a while.
Correct.
And be like, the MP asked me to join, I was approached.
Exactly.
But I said no,
exactly.
I can't.
Because there's different tiers to it, right? I think over the weekend I was talking to my friend. There's people being approached to run for politics. But then there's also friends of PAP tier, right? Friends of PAP meaning people who we've seen at official PAP events, influencers, even like Jian Hao all was at the PAP event. Does it mean that he's going to run for politics or is he a friend of PAP? And I think maybe the distinction is that friend of PAP could be a more transactional thing. I want to talk about something. Can I come on your show or your podcast or use your platform to talk about this? But running as a candidate, representing the PAP, I think that's a different level, right?
But you don't think there's also an equivalent with dating? Once you're a friend of PAP, you're friend zone.
Friend zone.
You cannot. If you want to be as a candidate, why join as a friend, we need you, but you're friend zone already, You're friend zone already.
I mean, that's where Friend of PAP has, I think there was an article before, right, about people who align themselves a lot with political parties.
Yeah,
sometimes they quite explicitly do it for business interests, and they're not shy to talk about it. But then here we're talking about people who put themselves up for candidacy in the election, which is, I think, very different from business interests, right? Because a lot of them, they probably might even have to stop like their main business affairs in order to run as MPs and all that, right?
Yeah, and that is if you're running for the incumbent like PAP, if you're joining opposition, you have to give up even more, right? Because of everything that comes with it, lah. I don't think we need to go into detail why it's so much harder. But late night, when you fantasize about your ideal MP and all, right? What sort of profile comes to mind? Like in your mind, as you close your eyes and you picture, like, what is the profile?
So that means there are moments where late at night you're
Don't try and throw it back to me.
You're sitting there fantasizing about your ideal MPs, is it?
Terence, the question was to you.
Glass of wine.
Turn down the lights.
Turn down the lights. Turn on your turn on your VPN or something.
Put some aromatic oils and watch the PAP speech. Wow, perfect Friday night. But yeah, doesn't take away from the question. So, and the reason I asked that is because, Kelvin Cheng talked about parachuting, and he said, and I quote, and I know Kelvin Cheng is just one opinion, but he said, in the past, the PAP could introduce a new candidate who has never done any work in a constituency and say this person is outstanding, vote for him. If a person has never done any work in a constituency, unless he is a national hero, nobody is going to vote for him. And then you hear about, parachuting, the whole stereotype of SAF generals being parachuted on. So and then you hear at the other extreme, a lot of stories about how people grew up chasing the chickens in their kampong and all that kind of stuff. How does that factor into your perception of an ideal candidate?
I think it's a good question. I think it differs for different people.
Yeah.
I think for me, a lot of being seen on the ground time is important. Yeah. The idea of being parachuted in is a very real issue, right? Remember the Ivan Hing debacle from the last election?
Yeah.
But maybe he was on the ground a lot. Maybe he really worked well with Tharman's team and everything. But when the moment he was thrust into public consciousness, then all the skeletons in the closet started coming out. That shows you that maybe they hadn't so-called blooded him enough. They maybe, if they wanted to field him, they should have started pushing him on social media and everything really. Then you start to see all these things come out. But the moment if it's thrust in your face in the midst of the hustings of a general election, I think that's when people suddenly very kanchong. Oh my God, this guy is going to get into politics, Then they have a whole campaign against you getting into politics and all that, which was the case for him, right?
Yeah.
Quite unfairly in some cases. I felt like there were anecdotes of him being unfriendly in the elevator to somebody, and I was like, what the hell does that have to do with politics? But that's politics, right? You can't shock people like that with sudden announcements of candidates that no one knows anything about. But for you, what is your ideal MP?
I mean, so ideal MP, definitely someone who I feel has lived through an experience that maybe is similar to my experience.
So cannot be different class or different race or different anything on that.
I mean, there are many things
race has to be but class and all that.
I mean, there are many things that define a person, right? And I think doesn't mean his whole life or her whole life needs to be in parallel in mind. But I think some commonality is great. For example, if someone grew up in a totally different country, born Singaporean but go abroad and then suddenly come back, for all their competency and achievements and all, I would feel like, hey, it's very different living here for that long. And in some way,
Jamus. Oh, sorry, what?
What was Jamus's background? How much time did he spend?
I mean, Jamus speaks different from the typical Singaporean.
Yeah.
I think he worked a lot in the overseas in the US, I believe in the World Bank and everything.
Yeah.
But would you not say that he charmed the hearts of Singaporeans in the 2020 GE and won over everyone?
I think one thing is he joined opposition.
Oh.
I think if you join opposition, to me, so there are many people who I would imagine think about joining politics, like what you say, very self-serving, you know.
Did I say that?
No, like you're saying at the PAP, the Friends of PAP.
Oh, you mean people who join for business interests?
Business interest.
Not necessarily self-serving. Businesses also serve interests of its employees and people.
But in some way, it's your business.
Correct,
so it's some way indirectly there is a component of being self-serving.
Okay.
And
there are incentives, right?
Yeah, there are incentives to do so. And I mean, ideally, the ideal political candidate for me is someone who joins because they genuinely want to help build a better society.
Okay.
Even it's not about the salary, the perks, or this. It's they genuinely want. I don't know whether such a person exists because I don't believe in also that whole pure altruism thing and all. But there are a lot of things that come with being a politician. But the moment you join opposition in Singapore, right, is you're stacked against the odds. There's so much more risk. There's so much I can imagine within your own family and network that you have to deal with because of the fear of being targeted or have your whole life come under scrutiny. So if you join opposition, right, already I feel like, wow, this person, like what is the what could be a good reason apart from just feeling very strongly about the work lah.
Okay.
You can disagree with policies, but to me it's like there's some semblance of like, this guy or girl is joining for the reason why someone for politics lah.
Fair point. Yeah. I think difference between joining.
If he joined PAP, I don't know. I think he would have to work a lot harder to win people over lah.
Yeah, the irony lah, right?
Yeah.
That he will have to work harder if you join the incumbent.
Yeah.
But so back to your original point about you said this person needs to have a similar lived experience to you lah.
Yeah, at least certain bits lah, certain bits, and not I think for me to feel like I feel this person, there's some connection.
Okay.
And maybe when I was younger, I used to think it should be all about the character and all that, but I think your character is shaped by your experience lah.
Okay.
Of course, over time, your character can go down a different path. But if it's totally disconnected, right, then I would say maybe that person would have to... I might not be fully sold on that person. But I'm also just 1% of the electorate lah.
Yeah. But so you're saying that if a person is born with a silver spoon, like very rich, own money, that kind of thing. But in their heart, in the deepest of the heart of their hearts, there's a very primal urge to want to just help Singaporeans, better themselves and make Singapore a forever kingdom, to live on forever.
Yeah.
You won't buy it because he doesn't drink the same teh tarik as you did, that kind of thing.
No, I would say I might totally end up loving that person as candidate. But their starting point, right? Yeah. I'm going to be a bit more skeptical at the start.
You'll be skeptical.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's how you generally meet people in real life, right?
Okay.
If certain people... of course, you don't judge by color and all, but everybody judges, right? And I think certain people, first impression is different, but what comes after that is also very important lah.
So you're saying basically optics lah, right? Someone staying in Rideout Road is very different from someone staying in Toa Payoh, HDB, that kind of thing lah.
Yeah, if you lived in Rideout Road your whole life, and then you suddenly want to join politics, to me I'm like, why would you want to do that? Then there's a lot more questions I would have.
You question the incentives.
Yeah, which I mean you can argue is superficial because you're judging them based on what you see, but that's the game of politics.
Classist lah, basically a classist lah, right?
I think that's a bit of a stretch. There's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't say.
I mean, that's the basis. You just said it starts at that point, right? Yeah.
I guess lah.
Yeah.
If you are joining as a politician,
correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So maybe yeah.
Okay.
You mean that doesn't impact your perception at all?
My own perception. I think it's possible to come from a place where you really want to help people. And you will have blind spots, right? I mean, you look at some of the greatest minds humanity have ever known. Yeah. Einstein or Stephen Hawking or whatever. I'm sure, they were great at what they did and, advanced human race so much. They advanced the human, our knowledge of the human race so much, right? But were they, ethically infallible or were they perfect people outside of that, in their own personal relationships? And probably not, right? Steve Jobs and all these people as well, right? So, for politics, do we really want to judge them based on do they come from a similar background to me, right? I wouldn't say that that's the best thing in terms of judging the caliber of the person, right? So I wouldn't let that cloud my judgment as much as possible. Obviously, it'll be there. It'll be there.
Yeah.
I will make jokes about it and all. But I was trying my best to look deep into a person's soul and really try to get a sense of, is this person for real?
Yeah. So I would qualify that saying that I think like my approach would also be similar if I could actually meet them in person. But for politics, where you only get to see them on screen, read about their writings and all, I feel it is unfortunately the reality that if someone comes from a vastly different background experience, I would just have more questions. I would have more skepticism. Not to say they can't prove their heart of hearts, but to me, I'm like, okay, what is this person's intention?
So going back to the earlier example you said about someone who didn't grow up in Singapore, has been overseas for very long or that. That's a big red flag to you.
No, I wouldn't say it's a red flag. I would say it's a yellow flag.
Yellow flag, okay, yellow flag, yeah. Yellow flag.
Okay.
Yellow flag.
Yeah. Do you have so for example, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say our podcast was based, and we were based remote.
Okay.
And you were in Norway and I was in LA talking about Singapore politics. I wouldn't blame people for people like, okay, we might be saying the same stuff.
Yeah.
But if it just has less weight, whatever you're saying, because it feels a little less, a lot more removed, right? So and I think, of course, at the other extreme, whenever I hear people talk about how they were chasing chickens as in the kampongs they grew up with as a way to relate, it's also like, okay, just shut up,
Okay.
Like, you're saying that just as almost like theater like that,
Okay. So a follow-up question to that, right?
Yeah.
There are those people who, they choose to leave Singapore for studies or for work, and to further their own careers, right? So they've been away for very long. But there are those who are away for very long because they are pursuing a gold medal for Singapore. Say like a Joseph Schooling, for example. There's no way he could have stayed in Singapore and trained for a gold medal, right?
Yeah.
So he went overseas because he had to, and he really wants Singapore to gold medal, right?
Yeah.
The highest achievement in the world of sports.
Yeah.
So not good enough for you,
I mean, I was if someone like that wants to join politics, I would have so many questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay, why?
Yeah.
And why should I, as a voter,
he fucking got you a gold medal?
Does it make him a good policymaker?
For sports, maybe, yeah. He knows sports.
I don't know about that also. Like, just because you are exceptionally good at something doesn't mean that you are amazing at deciding how that should be done in view of society and all that.
So for you, him coming from Toa Payoh HDB is still more important than whatever achievements they made outside in life.
No.
Whatever glory they brought to Singapore doesn't matter.
To me, if you bring glory to Singapore, I'm fucking proud of you. I'm damn happy. But does that mean you can just get a walk into politics? I don't think so.
Okay.
For you, it's okay?
I think there are some cases when people do such exceptional things in their lives that you kind of just have to I mean, politics, at the end of the day, you join politics doesn't necessarily mean you become prime minister or become minister or whatever.
Yeah.
You come in and you represent something for the country also, You represent unity for the country. You represent something for the country that is intangible, right?
Yeah.
And I would say there are a lot of MPs who are that. I'm not saying that they are diversity hires or anything like that. I'm not being condescending, but I'm saying that they represent a general, what the population should aspire to also, in some ways, we have ex-activists like Louis Ng who come on and they're very active in politics, right? They speak up a lot about issues, social issues, and it's good, it's effective, right? Yeah. So in the same sense, someone who has gone out and won, let's say, a gold medal for Singapore or medal at the Olympics of Singapore, you've done something so exceptional that it only makes sense for you to be in the fold of politics and
why does it make sense?
Inspiring people.
He can inspire people, but without being in politics.
Correct, but politics is an avenue to also inspire.
But so that's, I would say, why you choose this avenue? Why if you're damn good at swimming and all. First of all, compared to Louis Ng, right, he was actually doing a lot of work in the social sector already, right? With animal welfare and all, right? So then he joined and it was okay, this guy is doing a lot of work to better one aspect of society, and he joined politics to amplify that.
Yeah.
If you're damn good at swimming, right?
Yeah.
You might be great at other things, but you join politics, then what is the goal? Are you just expecting to be voted because you want a gold medal?
At this point, we need Tristan to go and pull up the footage of you saying, "Whoa, Joseph Schooling has inspired a whole generation of Singaporeans to pursue sports and like everything.
Exactly, pursue sports.
Exactly, yeah.
Not pursue politics.
But sports is part of like, it's a Ministry of Culture and Community and Youth. They take care of sports, right?
Yeah, so then he can be like, he can even help with the swimming association. You join politics where you're deciding policy for who knows what. I don't think to me it's like parachuting in. Parachuting in. But
parachuting with a gold medal.
Parachute with a gold medal. Parachute with a gold medal with all the gold medals you've won. To me, I'm like, okay, then why are you joining politics? I really respect your achievements. I respect you as a person. But are you going to be a good policymaker? I don't know. I don't know. So for you, you'd be like, wow, this guy.
I would say that
politics, election is still a competition. Here is someone who competed and dethroned the greatest swimmer of all time.
Correct, yeah. And put Singapore on the world map or something.
Yeah.
I would still say that politics, at the end of the day, is very emotive. And, you want people to feel inspired also when they look at the politicians or the party or the ruling party or whatever, right? And you need some of these faces that are recognizable to people that the moment you say their name, this guy, Tok Kong, number one, that kind of thing. You want that to be on your side.
But then it goes into like the whole performative politician, right? Like it's all about the celebrity nature as opposed to actually being able to articulate or make your case. Have you ever heard Joseph Schooling talk strongly about a policy relating to Singapore society or anything like that? Or making a case or being challenged and debating back?
I mean, he said something about drug use in Singapore a number of years back.
I mean, I don't know whether he had a choice.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's where I feel like there are certain cases where people do such exceptional things in the global sphere that you want them to be part of the leadership structure in some ways.
No, I don't know, man. You can be a damn talented player, but you might not be a leader.
Okay, definitely not. I don't think he can come in and then like straight away be a minister or a state or anything like that. But I feel MP, it does. There is a significance to that. There's significance in having
But you get voted in as an MP based on what you say during your rallies, which is not going to be just about sports.
Correct. But he's going to he's going to focus a lot on sports and things like that.
Then you're judging him. Maybe he's more multifaceted than
maybe
that.
Maybe he is. But I mean, all this is hypothetical, right? We are just saying.
If he's giving a speech at rally, Terrence could be the number one. Go Schooling.
To me, it's comparing to other candidates that have been put forward before. Like if you tell me that Joseph Schooling is a candidate versus, let's say, Ivan Heng or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%, I would definitely lean more towards the side of Joseph Schooling.
Serious?
Yeah.
I mean, Ivan Heng, unfortunately, he had his whole personal life, interactions in a lift, all that one.
Not Ivan Heng, sorry. I don't think his name. Ivan Heng is...
Ivan Lim.
Which is Ivan Lim. Not Ivan Heng. Ivan Lim.
Not Ivan Heng.
Ivan Lim, yes.
Yeah,
Ivan Lim.
We need to
put that caveat there.
Ivan Lim.
Made a mistake.
But you don't know, suddenly got similar stories about Joseph Schooling?
Possible. But he got a gold medal at the Olympics. He beat Michael Phelps, right?
Yeah, but sporting talent is not a guarantee of character.
Okay. So if Joseph Schooling runs for opposition, then you okay lah.
I mean, to me, starting point, your heart definitely you feel strongly about something. Like if you decide to vote for opposition in Singapore, you already have my respect, starting respect.
Just voting for opposition.
No, running.
Okay.
And then after that is what you say and all that matters lah. And of course, you can join the opposition party in a self-serving way. I'm not saying that can't happen.
Yeah.
But it just feels like you're going against the odds lah.
I'm glad you're on the same page as me on this lah. This was how I felt when in the late 90s and 2000s, everyone was a Manchester United fan lah. Right? It was just so easy to be a Man U fan because they're winning everything all the time. Then all these people say, die hard Man U fan. I support since 1995. And I'm like, come on, please. It was so easy to support Man U back then. Now you tell me you became a Man U fan the last 1-2 years. Then I'm like, respect to you. Respect.
So, Terrence, like if you're saying 1995, I was 11. If you're holding my opinion as an 11-year-old as a judge of my character, then I'll be like, wake up lah.
No, that's what I say. I'm glad you've grown. I'm glad you've grown up, man.
Thank you, Terrence.
Put that
Thank you. But now you have gone the other way, like Joseph Schooling win gold medal. You're like, I want him in Parliament.
Not say I want him in Parliament, right? But I say compared to the other types of candidates that can
you would prefer him in Parliament.
I would prefer him to say someone parachuted in from from SAF or something like that lah. That's for sure. That's in my opinion lah. Because I mean, maybe there is bias against like these parachuter in generals and all that, like, because we've all been part of that organization and all that before.
Yeah.
But winning a gold medal really, I mean, I think it fundamentally altered people's perception of sports in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
I think I thought that was so important.
Yeah, and I do think it altered, and I think he's really a national hero. But whether I want him in parliament, I don't know. It depends on what he says.
Okay.
So if it's a parachuter, not just from SAF, but from the private sector, that one, how do you feel?
Private sector, then we look at the resume for the private sector, because I think there's a lot of different tiers of what they do in the private sector, right? Corporate world versus being a self-made entrepreneur and things like that. Yeah. So that's different.
I mean, at the end of all this, I always come back, and I think we've spoken about it, is coming back to the same idea of the best way to find out the worth of a candidate. Just throw them all on an island for 1 month and have a series of challenges.
But
because I started watching Culinary Class for a while ago.
Yes.
And of course it's heavily edited and all. But it's nice, and they really play up, like the difference in the white spoons and the Michelin star chefs and the humble black spoons and all that. But I mean, I would imagine if you really put all these candidates on an island, you see their true character lah.
Yeah, so it's a bit like a politician's inferno kind of situation.
Yeah.
They live on the island for a while, then if they do well, then you bring them over to like Resorts World.
Then halfway through got new candidate review. They're like, hey shit, oh wow, so something that would be fucking great. And I'm surprised that I don't know whether countries have tried this before, but maybe it's just too controversial lah.
Not for politicians.
But if you really see what they're worth, you just put them through hard challenges and all that. Of course, everything with safety.
Yeah.
But you really see their character.
So do you agree with Kelvin Cheng's statement that if the PAP can introduce a new candidate who has never done any work in the constituency, but nobody would care about this person, even if the PAP says he's outstanding? Do you agree with that statement?
No, I think there will be a portion of the electorate that will still care. I think so.
They will trust the process right, that he's been vetted and everything.
And I mean, if you put someone next to someone like, Tharman is not there anymore, but someone next to Heng Swee Keat, or someone who is very highly regarded, I mean, you would trust that, if he's on the same team, must be got vetted.
Yeah. So you disagree with Kelvin Cheng on some of this?
Yeah. I mean, I would say to me, I would be like, okay, why is that person there? Because we are neck deep in politics, and even just the forcing yourself to be questioning. But I can imagine a lot of people just trusting the process.
Okay, so now Joseph Schooling, Fandi Ahmad for politics.
They all get no, same thing. The same thing applies. Why are you joining politics? And just because you're a damn talented footballer doesn't mean you're a leader. And I would say every MP needs to be a leader.
Every MP needs to be a leader.
Yeah, you are a leader.
Okay. I guess because you're a representative of the people.
Yeah, you are a leader. You are leading the country as part of the leadership team.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are not a good leader, you can be damn talented. But I mean, you've also, growing up, of course, school sports are not very different. But I'm sure you know people who are damn talented at their sports. But are they good leaders?
No, not necessarily.
And sometimes the best leader is not the best at the sport.
Or even the military for the
for the military, the fittest person, right?
Fittest person, or even just the loudest person, or whatever.
Yeah,
won't necessarily be a good example or leader.
So Fandi Ahmad, how for you?
I'm actually interested to find out, because I think Fandi Ahmad, his life has been, since being a footballer, has been quite colourful since then. Even some failed businesses and all that. But I actually feel that is might be a positive, experiencing failure in his own life.
Yeah.
Having kids and things like that, right? And I think actually that adds color to his experience. So in some way, what you're saying about Joseph Schooling is ultimately that he, outside of sports, he hasn't really proven himself so much yet, right?
Yeah.
And you would want to hear more about it. In fact, if he was very open about what happened to him with drugs and all that as well, I think that also it would be helpful, right?
Yeah, that's true. Because now he's almost a bit one-dimensional, And I mean, of course, he definitely isn't as a person, but for what we see in the media, if we understand more about it, if he says, like having that whole drug issue really made me think about the future of Singapore and how I am influencing, so many people, and I have a responsibility. Then I'm like, wow, Joseph, well done, Joseph.
Authentic message.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately here, all we know is that there's recruitment. There's all this recruitment going on, right?
Yeah.
But I think what we're saying is that what are the questions people should be asking of these people being recruited, because it's not just the PAP. I think PSP also there have been a lot of new recruits appearing in their social media videos and all that as well.
Yeah, WP also.
Workers' Party has and they make videos talking about what they are concerned with, like minimum wage, cost of living, and all these things. But a lot of it, what's important to me also is just like, what are these people's backgrounds? Why are they in politics? And
why are they in politics? Because it's damn hard to ascertain.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun next year. It's going to be very fun.
Correct. But so that's the flex I'm going to start pulling out at dinner parties. Yeah, saying that I've been approached by a political party to be stand as a candidate, but I said no.
But I mean, they keep pinging,
they keep pinging.
Which side? Terrence, come on.
But if I just say already, you know 100%.
You know, I can't say. Anyway, how was your weekend? That's true. That is the next flex.
They invited me to walk the ground on, but I was like, I can't. Too busy with my business.
That's true. That is true. Man. The new flex.
Yeah. But talking about flexing, right? Yeah, the new flex. There's this couple that were sitting on a first class flight that felt the need to flex quite figuratively and literally, right?
Yeah.
Their first class entitlements, right? And then it's become big news since then.
Yeah.
But what is this news?
It is the news that on a recent Swiss Air flight from Bangkok to Zurich, there was a couple that were apparently engaging in a sexual act in the plane's kitchen, which from what I understand is like behind the cockpit.
The first class kitchen.
First class kitchen. And there was a crew from Swiss Air who was recording the CCTV view of that act being done, because there was a camera above looking down at them, and posted it on social media, and it apparently went super viral. And they were engaging in oral sex. And that went viral. So I think it's been scrubbed off every platform. There are articles around the world that have been written about it. And Swiss Air has also come forth and say that, that was indecent. But it was interesting that they also said that the behavior of the crew was not in line with their guidelines. Because apparently that camera does not record footage. It is just above the door leading to the cockpit, so the pilots know when they can exit. And they were having oral sex against the door. So, it was interesting to see how I guess the only reason I wanted to talk about it was the airline was saying, I think there's one part where they said the crew should have intervened.
Yes.
Right. And then it's just thinking, how are they supposed to intervene?
They say that we expect our pilots to devote themselves fully to the safe flight of the aircraft during their work.
The crew, is it the crew?
The pilots.
But the pilots were not looking.
Well, how do you know the pilots are not looking? It's a video taken by somebody.
But the video was taken by the crew, by the pilot.
It could have been by the pilots, right? Because like what you said is for the pilots to see if there's somebody in the galley before they come out and all that, right? And they say that there could even be there could be a violation of like the Swiss Civil Code, which requires that permission to be gained before a photo or video is taken of someone in a public place.
Because they didn't mask out the face,
Yeah.
Oh.
But the pilots might also be might be reprimanded for this. Yeah.
So the Swiss spokesperson said, upon spotting the sordid act, crew members should have intervened directly instead of recording it.
Yeah.
The cameras are there to ensure security in the cockpit. We want to know exactly what happened and how these recordings came out. The crew also had a commentary, like a one-liner where he said something expletive.
Yeah.
And Swiss Air spokesperson said the commentary is disrespectful and does not in any way correspond to the professional standards, values, and behavior that we expect from our employees.
Yeah.
So
actually interesting for you because you used to work in airlines and all that, right? How often did something like that ever happen on?
I mean, I wish
planes?
I could say that, I have a lot of experience dealing with cases like this, but in my 5 years in Singapore aviation,
Never.
none. Never. Never. Actually, there probably was at least. I mean, I can't imagine how these cases would cause issues on the flight. But I don't recall any mention at all.
Yeah. But this is first class as well, so it's
so the passenger is definitely from first class, is it?
I mean, to access the first class galley, I suppose you would have to
that's
be
true.
from first class, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
But I mean, what made you want to talk about this, Terence?
I thought it was interesting that my most immediate thought was like, excuse me, this couple is going to get in trouble for what they did, right? But it seems like in Europe, at least in Switzerland and all that, the protections of the passengers
that's true,
are a lot stronger, and there seems to be action that they can take against the crew of the plane for filming them without their consent. And that's reflected as much in the Swiss Air statement as well. So that was quite a surprise to me, and I thought that, that's quite a yellow butt kind of thing. Right?
That's true. I mean, they did chastise the frisky couple,
of course,
saying such acts are unacceptable. The behavior of our passengers is usually respectful and appropriate. But it sounds like if someone, let's say, was just making noise on a plane, they're not breaking a law, but they're more concerned about the behavior of their own crew.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, what do you make of that?
It's, quite, I guess, professional in that sense. Although the behavior of the crew not so professional, right? But I was just quite because given that it was a first class flight, I love to watch those videos where people sit first class and then they cover the whole experience. And I was just thinking, surely sitting first class, there must be some spot where if you really wanted to be private, you can close doors or, put a shelter over yourself and all that. Because, first class, a lot of time they have their own space, their own rooms, right? But I watched the first class video of the flight from Bangkok to Zurich on Swiss Air. What I realized is that first class flight has those seats that can really flatten out. But there's no point where you're actually enclosed within a room. So it's, I think the air steward or air stewardesses, when they walk past, they will be able to peer over into you sleeping in the first class seat. So it doesn't afford you the kind of privacy. Let's say you want to cuddle with somebody and, get frisky and all that. You can't get that, even on the first class experience on this flight.
But I would imagine, I would imagine this happened when all the galley lights were off,
probably
cabin lights, right?
Yeah.
So
all dark, right?
All dark.
That's why the video footage is the night vision style. No color.
No, but then if it's dark like that, I'm sure there's still a bit more privacy in your seat with a blanket over than just standing in a fucking galley like that.
Yeah, but that's where it's probably the possibility of getting caught. That was the fun thing for them.
I think it was why do it? I mean, if they wanted, they can go to the bathroom. The act they were doing, they could have done it in the bathroom. And then, Swiss Air, however small an airline bathroom is, if you're standing up and another person's not standing up, there's space to do it. So it's just a thrill.
Yeah.
And maybe they chose Swiss Air because you're like, okay, Singapore Airlines confirm we get in trouble. But Swiss Air, right? Because I think sex in a public space in Singapore is illegal, right? I don't know what happens when you're flying in air.
So I'm sure there are laws in place, because...
But it feels like maybe it's more up to the airline.
Yeah.
So that's why Swiss Air is probably the best airline to have public sex on.
Because of it's under the jurisdiction of Switzerland, is it?
Let's see. Is it illegal? And maybe, they went to Bangkok, they're like, okay, we came here to get frisky.
Yeah.
This is our last chance.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, Bangkok to Zurich.
Because they didn't say what time of the flight, right? At what point in the flight, right?
Yeah. I think we were trying very hard to do our research for this as well, right?
Yeah.
To find the original source video and all that.
Just for verification.
Yeah. We've not been successful.
Yeah. So they really scrubbed.
I don't know if it's been scrubbed or we're just not really clued in on this kind of thing. But I would say that just a word of warning to anyone else who's looking for the video. If you look up Swiss Airlines sex video or whatever like that, a lot of different kind of results will end up on your homepage, right? So
I don't know what you're talking about.
So just be aware when you are searching for this thing. But the news articles all have I think they all have the video that has been censored and everything, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell that it's surprising that I mean, it was they probably really felt like, oh, there was a private place where nobody can see them and all.
Yeah.
And they just want to do it. But the other thing I'm also surprised by is that in recent times, with all the issues of turbulence and all that happening, right, these days.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't, nowadays, I almost never dare to just stand up and hang around anymore when I'm taking a flight already, even a short flight and all that. I need to be seated and belted up, right, for safety reasons. But these people really, they really threw caution to me. Just let go. No seatbelt.
Just let go.
Yeah.
I mean, so they are in it for the thrill.
The thrill.
And I mean, a simple check for the legal considerations of having sex on a plane. Apparently, the applicable laws are influenced by the country where the aircraft is registered, the countries of departure and arrival, and the airspace being traversed. So a lot of things at play. Maybe they research at this intersection of these coordinates on a Swiss air flight, the chance of being legally in trouble for having sex on a plane is minimal.
No, but
do it now.
Isn't that just saying that it has to be you are subject to the jurisdiction of Switzerland?
I mean, but it also says the countries of departure and arrival.
Oh, departure and arrival.
Yeah, and airspace, were they still in Thailand airspace?
Oh, yeah.
Or international waters?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a full sting operation.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
they did their research.
But I mean, for the Swiss Air to be so diplomatic and, chastise their crew more than the act, I mean, interesting also. And if you look at the CCTV footage, it feels like it is a corner area.
But I mean, it's kind of like the remember when I don't know how this example is coming up, but remember when Iswaran was brought to jail, and then there was that image of him sitting in the back of the police vehicle that went viral, and everyone was like, what the hell, how can the police let this image out? Or then they realized it wasn't the police, it was probably a reporter who took the photo of it, right? I think that's the thing, right? Is the fact is that this video came out from the crew, and that was the big problem. If it was, say, someone else who happened to take a video of some CCTV image that was in the galley or something, I don't think Swiss Air would make such a big fuss, but it's because it's their own crew who leaked it and all that.
And I mean, to prospective customers, if you know that you're going to fly on this airline where the crew is no big deal for them to just take photos of
and
what
ridicule you. Yeah. Because it's not just about sex, right?
Can be anything.
Yeah, it could be a lot of silly things that you do on the plane. You dig your nose or you poop your pants or something like that.
Yeah.
And you feel like, oh shit, one day that footage is going to get out there and I'll look like an idiot, right?
So Swiss Air lost the battle, but they're trying to win the war.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's very high level 4D chess kind of thing.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we can score the person, but the bigger thing is we need to have the trust of our customer, which, I mean, to me, I'm like, hey, Swiss Air, not bad lah.
Yeah. Maybe they should offer 1 year's free first class tickets for this couple, right, to compensate for
that one a bit much. That one a bit much, because I don't know whether the couple has can potentially sue them also.
Yeah, they could, yeah.
Right, because their faces were not blurred out or anything.
Yeah.
Oh man, wow.
Man.
I mean, I'm guessing Singapore Airlines, confirm if you're working in the airline or any airline, you have definitely dealt with customers doing this lah.
Oh, I'm sure.
So as always, if you're listening and you have some info, feel free to go to our Reddit to share your experience.
Yeah.
Can do it anonymously. But interesting. I mean, even if you Google, there are a lot of accounts of aircrew who share that. I'm looking at this one article on the scottishsun.co.uk. The title is, I'm an air hostess and the Mile High Club is actually very common. I catch strangers having sex. Here's how we handle it. So I think it happens a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Happens a lot.
Interesting times.
Speaking
of interesting times, what is your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment, I guess it's so far, I mean, it's that time of year when it's the Spotify Wrapped.
That's mine also, yeah. So I guess we can have a combined one.
Yeah, combined one. I mean, there are a few posts on Reddit already. There's a few tags quite a few tags on Instagram. On Reddit, it's from inconvenient_realist, Joash Kai, But Then Ho, Majestic Economistics. And I mean, one of those who wrote a comment, Inconvenient Realist, as always, number one for me again this year. Always have a bittersweet experience with Yalla, but a person who meant a lot to me upon a time introduced me to Yalabat during the last GE cycle, but then life and circumstances happen and now the person is just a stranger that I know little about. And yet when I listen to Yalabat, I take some comfort knowing that we're both listening to the same thing at some point, even if we're strangers now. Wow. So thanks, guys. Wow.
It's got that somewhere out there.
Wow. But I mean, yeah, man, like seeing the things and the numbers and our listenership has grown so much this year. Wow, great lah.
Yeah. I'm glad this is an example of how we've accompanied people through the happiest and the darkest of times as well, right?
Yeah.
Not the first one to tell us, but every one of these stories is very heartwarming to listen to, or even quite bittersweet in some ways, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. But for you, similar
same,
kind of
sentiment. Yeah. I mean, I'm just basking in all the Spotify Wrapped posts.
Yeah, I always forget that. Like this time of year always means so much. And like looking at the comments, a lot of people saying they chance upon Yalabat during GE. They really have seen us both become like from singles to married to fathers. I mean, you were married, but then you had a kid.
Yeah.
I was single, married, father.
Yeah.
Man, fucking great, yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for sharing. Please continue to share, and we will reshare as much as possible.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll meet some of you this Thursday.
That's right. For the live show.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Okay. And what is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing, I guess it is culinary class wars lah.
Okay.
Because I started watching it last week. Sorry. With my wife, and I know it already came very highly reviewed by you and Tristan. And I mean, essentially the game. I mean, the show. If you're listening to it for the first time, is you have 100 chefs who start out 20 who are like Michelin star chefs, run their own restaurants, and seen as like, wow, they have made it as chefs, and 80 people who might run their own restaurants, but they haven't gotten global recognition yet lah. So first episode itself, they whittle the numbers down, and just competing, and it's quite heartwarming in the sense that as opposed to like MasterChef US or American reality TV shows where you start disliking some characters and liking. I think the beauty about Korean reality shows is like generally everyone, there's no one you hate lah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just nice to see that how you say that being confronted in a reality TV show front and center, like the class, culinary class.
Yeah.
So interesting, like it's a fun watch.
It's a big thing for you now. Class warfare.
And I mean, the parts are damn funny also lah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, like
have you finished watching already?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, so which part are you at now?
I'm at. They are having the team face.
The team face. Okay, good.
And I mean, the one thing about these Korean reality TV shows, the sets are insane.
The scale, right? Yeah.
The scale, walao. And it's nice because at one point, the US reality TV shows, they all felt like the same thing, just applied in different scenarios.
Yeah.
But Korean reality TV shows have taken it to the next level, man.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah. I think for me, like watching The Bear, like all 3 seasons of The Bear, that was nice to sort of see it from a narrative standpoint about the emotions of being a chef or that. But then to really understand the skill that goes into being a fine dining chef. This series did it for me. So I would say they're very good companion pieces to watch together.
Yeah. And then over the weekend, I was meal prepping with my wife also, right? And then like at one point, she had to take care of her kids, so I was doing the bulk of the meal prepping. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't care how much fish sauce I'm putting. I'm just putting it taste, right? But then you watch the thing and like, wow, they understand it and they're so precise. And I was like, fuck, like, burn a bit. I don't give a shit. Like, just get it done.
Amazing. Yeah, the amazing thing is they get to a point where they're able to, they never tried cooking with an ingredient before, but they understand its general properties and they're able to weave it into something else that they've cooked before.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind. I can barely even, like, when I eat food, I can barely even taste what ingredients are.
I tried on Sunday, and when I was having lunch, everything I closed my eyes and I tried to do, I'm like, okay, this tastes salty and a bit spicy.
Yeah.
But you listen to them, you're like, okay, this has a hint of a berry. Like, oh, is it like, it tastes familiar? Blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, they have refined palates, like crazy.
It is.
Yeah, fun to watch.
Fun to watch. Yeah. And the best part's still coming out. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Please don't, even though you and Tristan keep talking about it. Okay.
Yeah. My one Shiok thing is, actually, everyone's listening to Uppiter, the song now, right? I think her name is Rose, the girl. She did a live version of it on the BBC Radio 1 studio recently. And quite interesting because, without Bruno Mars in the song, I feel that it's a very different song when there's no Bruno Mars in it. So it was quite interesting to see her, perform it in a smaller, more intimate setting.
Shit.
And apparently she had a sore throat while she sang it as well, but she still sounded pretty decent. But it's just an interesting take because everyone's bopping to the song, but just trying to understand it better as like a song and why it works and all that. It's quite interesting. So without Bruno Mars, I feel like it's a very different experience the song.
Oh, the BBC Live Lounges, Radio 1 Live Lounge is quite cool.
Yeah.
Shit, the actual music video has 535 million views in 1 month.
That's huge. Yeah. It's my wife was saying it's like Generation Alpha's Macarena, basically. Because even in school, I think the kids are listening to it.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah. And she also sings Last Christmas as a second song. They always do this where they sing an original song and a cover of someone else's song.
So Rose is from Blackpink, right?
Yeah, Blackpink. Yeah.
When you think Lisa is like,
angry. Like, I mean, this is the biggest solo hit of any Blackpink member, right? Isn't it?
More so than Lisa.
I don't know any Lisa songs for me. But this one is like everyone, even Lawrence Wong, Lawrence Wong is vibing. Ho Ching is vibing to Upper Tilt.
Unwillingly vibing. Unwillingly vibing. What?
Yeah.
Ho Ching also?
Yeah. Ho Ching was happily clapping when they played this song for Lawrence Wong.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I mean, it has crossed cultural and age barriers as well, So isn't this, I would say this is the most successful solo effort from any Blackpink member, right?
Because I also can't name a Lisa song. If I hear it, I can...
Yeah, Lisa, I think I see her, I know her, she's famous, but I can't think of a Lisa song. But maybe that's us. But that's the point, right? The fact that we don't know.
And we know Upper Tilt.
It tells you that she did well. She just came out of, not say out of nowhere, right? But you never saw her as like the person to have the first breakout hit like that. Right?
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, Paola Rose. And she's got a Kiwi accent.
She's New Zealander, right?
Yeah, New Zealander.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, man.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. So, we're still going to keep cranking this out till the end of the year.
Yeah, we're still having an episode before the live show?
Before the live show.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, the live show is going to be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
For those who have tickets, good for you. And to those who don't, you still get to listen to the show.
Oh, yeah, correct.
But
there'll be an episode.
The vibe, you won't feel the vibe there.
Yeah. You won't vibe out with us, man. Who knows? We might play Upper Tilt when we come out.
Yeah, as we walk on, yeah.
Play Upper Tilt. Okay, cool. But yeah, remember, just share this podcast with anyone who may not have heard of us. Follow us on social media. And if you want to work with us,
check out ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Cool. Thanks, everybody, for listening.